Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm Michael Lanfield from Peaceful Village Raw Vegan Healing Community. Yeah, today in the cabin. Okay, and today's video is what is wrong about veganic farming. Now this is a play on words, on titles, a clickbait, maybe. So what is wrong about veganic gardening or veganic farming? Because really it's not about gardens, it's about forests. So I want to mention thank you to people out there who are doing their part, veganically growing their food. So thank you for doing all your part. Now, first, before I start, I just want to mention that you can visit Peaceful Village at peacefulvillage.org. So that is peacefulvillage.org, and see what who and what we're all about. And you can check us out there for volunteer opportunities, for guest staying, for all sorts of cool information all about us. Okay, that being said, let's dive into first what is veganic farming? What is veganic or veganic agriculture? So, veganic comes from two words: veganic, vegan, and organic. But I don't like to use the word organic because that implies that one uses inputs from non-human animals, and organic, for the most part, at least from what people are saying and what I've seen, people don't use chemicals. Now, in the last many years living here in the Amazon, I have noticed that many people that consider themselves or consider their growing practices organic use products that are organic or natural, and these products are usually growth hormones or fertilizers of some sort. Many of them are organic, at least that's what it says in the label. Some of them are certified organic, some of them are not, but usually they are because they have to pass some laws and things in order to be produced, unless they're produced locally from farmer to farmer. But if they're in stores and things like this, then they need the certifications. Yeah, and many of them include animal inputs like manure, blood meal, bone meal, feather meal, fish meal, this kind of stuff, all coming from non-human animal sources. So in Peaceful Village, we don't deal with any of that. We are completely using basically three things. We use our human manure, we use our urine, and we use compost. Well, the fourth thing is mulch as well. Yeah, so mulch can be anything from green to brown matter that is on top of the soil, or falls from the trees, or falls from different places, or comes from the soil, like weeds and grasses and yeah, this kind of stuff. So green or brown. So decomposting, like almost dying leaves. So leaves that are more yellow or brown. Also twigs, branches, weeds, anything that is even green. So fresh cuttings from trees like ingas and so forth. So that is veganic, basically not using anything that comes from animals and chemicals whatsoever, even if it's labeled organic or natural. Okay, so that is veganics. Again, the difference between veganic and organic is that in organic systems, people are able to use inputs that come from animals, non-human animals. So that is manure, blood meal, bone meal, feather meal, fish meal, even using domesticated animals on the land, having animal sanctuaries, pets, chickens running around, these kind of things. We don't do any of that in Peaceful Village. So what is wrong about veganic farming? Veganic farming is supposed to revolutionize the farming industry. Now, we don't like to call it industry. It's not an industry. It's working in harmony with nature. That's what it's all about. It's really about doing our part to be the change we want to see in the world, causing the least harm and the most good in the world. So really not enslaving animals, not using anything that comes from them, not using the chemicals, any chemicals. And so we do our best to, as best as possible, here it's difficult, but as best as possible to get good seeds, to get good plants, to reuse seeds. So for example, if we have already fruit trees growing, to utilize those seeds. Now, getting on to the question. What is wrong about veganics or veganic agriculture or veganic growing? What is wrong with that? So I just want to mention that there are many people, if not most, if not all of them that I heard of, that are not emphasizing in two aspects, or I should say 3 aspects, when it comes to veganic, veganic farming, right? So the 3 aspects, and this is very, very important, because if we want to truly be ecological, and veganic truly has nothing to do with ecology. It has to do with just not using animals or anything that comes from animals, and not using chemicals. And the reason, so basically that's it. But the reason we do this is because we just don't want to use these kind of inputs, chemicals, things that come from non-human animals. We don't see them as resources to be used. We don't see the earth as resources to be used. So we do our part to cause the least harm to the earth, to the biodiversity around where we are. And the whole idea really about all of this is that we need to make it as sustainable as possible. So if we are growing our food, for example, in colder climates where we don't have 12 months out of the year growing season, that is not sustainable. We cannot grow things in wintertime. So what happens? So at some point, there's going to be everything digitalized. There's going to be manipulation of human beings. There's going to be the, you can say, dictatorship and the manipulation and the control of human beings. And so if we want to be still part of this system that we call society, we're going to have to conform to many things that deep down, fundamentally, we, in our hearts, we know that we just don't want to support. So, for example, supporting the industries and institutions that exploit humans and other animals and the environment. We don't want that, because we know as vegans and as conscious beings that we don't want to harm others, and we don't want to harm the earth, which is also an other. We're all others. We're all one, right? So if we want to not be slaves and be truly free, the idea is to be somewhere where we can grow all our food, so we have a 12 months growing season. So all year round, or 13 months, whatever, if we're looking at a different type of calendars, but we have growing season all year round. That means, people, that we cannot live in cold places anymore. We have to grow food in warm tropical climates. That's just how it is. If we understand what's going on within the system, within society, if we are sovereign human beings and we don't want to be part of this slavery system, because people, society, and being controlled by governments, a big cabal, and big interests, hey, that is all slavery. So we need to go somewhere, growing all our own food veganically, right? It's not sustainable to be growing things on our balconies in apartments and condominiums, because in the end, are we going to survive eating a few pieces of kale or some herbs? This doesn't make any sense here. If we are to thrive, right, and to prepare ourselves for really what's coming, we need to be able to grow our food all year round. That means that we need to live in places where we can grow all our food all year round in warm tropical areas of the world. It's not feasible, and it's not practical, and it's not sustainable to be growing herbs and some potatoes, storing our potatoes or whatever tubers during the winter. Human beings are not cold climate beings. We are tropical beings, and so we should be living in tropical areas of the world. I have another video that I did just recently about questions about my book, The New Mother Earth, and one of the questions was, oh well, if everybody were to move to the tropics, we wouldn't have enough space. So I have that. You can definitely check that out. I think it's definitely one of the last videos that I posted before this one, so you can definitely check that out. And so there are many people that are advocating veganic growing, that advocate, if that's all you can do, well then grow little herbs or some kale in your backyard or in pots on your balcony. It doesn't work that way, people. When the system closes or the system shuts down or whatever happens, in 2020 what happened? In 2021 what happened? There were many people that couldn't go and buy their food and couldn't do anything, and they were starving, and many people protesting, and many people doing all sorts of things, and many people had to be coerced and wear a mask in order to go to supermarkets. And in supermarkets nowadays, the food is horrible. It's all toxic, most of it anyways. And so the idea really is that we don't want to be part of that slavery system. We want to be free. Just like at least most of the wild animals are free. And so what we do is we want to do just that. Now, the other thing that we need to realize, and that many people don't realize, and what's wrong with veganics, And I'm not talking about veganic growing itself. I'm talking about people that are in promoting or working in or growing veganically their food. Okay, many people don't realize that gardens are not going to replace 100% of our food. It's not sustainable to be consuming only tubers, grains, and legumes, cereal grains and legumes, and vegetables, and no truly fresh fruits. Yeah, we cannot live just on eating cooked meals 3 or 4 times a day. We need to eat fresh, raw fruit. And so, and also, people don't realize that we're losing a lot of forest. And the number one reason is because of the amount of land that's being deforested. Also, the oceans being devastated, and a lot of animals being killed on a massive scale. Ultimately, is because we're losing a lot of forest. We're losing a lot of forest, and we're, of course, killing animals for the animals in the oceans. But we're losing a lot of forests. That's causing a lot of problems throughout the world: droughts, floods, topsoil loss, erosion, desertification, this kind of things, And so forests are very, very vital. Food forests are very, very vital. And so many of these people that are promoting veganic growing, basically, and I'm going to just, okay. Many people that are promoting veganic growing, they really don't realize that forests are the most important things. Yeah, they say here and there, plant some trees here and there and this kind of thing, but truly 2 types of trees that need to be planted. Trees are very, very important. I cannot stress how important trees are in this whole system of veganic growing. It's very, very important. They're very, very important because they are the stabilizers of the soil. Without trees, there's no life in the soil. And so trees are very important. Now the 3 things that, or the 3 components would be, or the 3 things would be the first and foremost, to keep as much of the native forest as possible. So native trees, primary or secondary, they do their job within the ecosystem, keep the balance, right? If we just cut everything and we just grow fruit trees that are not part of the local ecosystem, that are from Asia or somewhere, and we're not in Asia, then that is not a balance of the local ecosystem, for example, as we are here in the Amazon. So, Amazonian area, for example, in South America, what we need everywhere, but I'm talking specifically about this because we are peaceful villages located here, is that we need trees. We need native trees, and in conjunction, we need the fruiting trees that are local and all that are natively growing, or the ones that have been growing for some millennia of time. And we need these two things, yes, of course, also coupled with other types of exotic fruits that people get from other places that can grow in these kind of areas. We're about 400 to 500 meters above sea level, so we can grow everything tropical. It gets probably a lot of sun, but also a lot of rain. So I don't know what the percentage would be, but it depends on the time of year. But sometimes we get a little more rain and sometimes we get a little more sun, but it's probably 50-50, 60-40 sometimes. So these two things, native trees, fruiting trees, coupled with leguminous type of plants. Many of them are trees, like Inga edulis or other Ingas. And we use also a plant called Flamingia macrophylla. So Flamingia macrophylla is also very, very good small kind of a shrub, leguminous shrub that provides a lot of fertility for the soil, things like that. So leguminous plants do excellent. So any kind of leguminous plants, this is the key. Of course, there's in conjunction, there's the compost, there's the mulch, vegan always, of course. So we don't get our amendments, we don't get our fertilizing stuff from outside. Okay. Now, another thing that many veganic growers, or what they like to call themselves veganic growers, don't do is they don't use, or at least they don't mention that to use their own human manure or urine. So what I mean by that is human manure is human manure. So I'm not talking about manure that comes from non-human animals. I'm talking about our excrement, human excrement, and urine, right? Now, the more clean, as time goes, the more clean we are, the more ecologically we work with the land, the more we see our symbiosis, right, and our cooperation, and physically start doing the things to create a food forest. We start to realize that over time, especially transitioning slowly towards raw veganism and even fruitarianism, we start to realize that it's totally possible, even with minimal weighting, to use our excrements and urine for fertilizing, for composting, this kind of stuff. It's perfectly fine to use what we call weeds and grasses. I would put in that category too. All grasses. We don't have any grass here initially growing, like patches and patches of land of grass. Probably in areas that we haven't explored yet and haven't cultivated yet, or places that they're popping up here and there, but we're not deliberately keeping grass. So we don't have an area where people, so we take all the weeds, we put that in different areas, sometimes we burn them in the sun on the paths that we walk on, and also we mix that into the compost and everything, into that. So just to reiterate what I mentioned is that people don't realize, three things that people don't realize is that first, we need to get out of the system, society, and the people who control it it's slavery. It's all slavery. And so if we want to be free, if we want to not be dependent on outside inputs that we really don't know where they're coming from, how they're produced, all the what they call food. Um, we just have to grow our own. And living in these cold places is just not going to work. It's not sustainable. It's not practical. Um, no, it's not, and it's not ethical to ourselves because we are torturing ourselves with cold winters and freezing temperatures that human beings are not meant to live in these places. And so the idea is really to go back to where we came from, the tropics. And I don't mean, oh, okay, let's all go to Africa somewhere, you know, to, I don't know, Ethiopia or somewhere. Um, but the place called, because that's all corporations anyways. But let's go all somewhere to the tropics, to warm climates, start growing all our damn food finally, start working in harmony with the earth and each other, so start sharing. Forget about using money, right? At least we're transitioning to that way of being, and now we're sharing with our neighbors and people around the world, and we're doing our best to share the information and to share the seeds and to share the plants and to share the fruits and to share whatever we can, to share the meals, to share everything with people. Now, that is precisely how it is. Then, forget about the gardens, because gardens are not sustainable. Yeah, you can have small gardens here and there underneath your overhang to your buildings and things like this, but it's not practical on a large scale. And so the idea is to plant forests. Yeah, they do take time. Plants, usually trees, do take years and years before they start bearing substantial amount of fruit, but we need to start right away. And then in some 8-10 years, if we are dedicated, and there are many people that are working with each other, then we can create this vegan paradise, this utopian paradise that we all long to live in. Yeah. So what is truly wrong about veganic gardening, veganic growing, veganic farming? Truly, the techniques, there's nothing wrong with it. It's the ideas or the practices that people have pertaining to veganic growing, right? So we need to change our mentality, change our comfort zone, or to get away from our comfort zone and say, hey, you know, if I truly don't want to be a slave and I want to be free and I don't want to be coerced and I don't want to be told what to do by big interests like cabal or whoever, and then I better get out of this town or the city. I better get out of society slowly. Now, you know, my partner and I, we are not completely free of the system. We're still somewhat slaves to the system, but we are learning. We're getting out slowly, right? We're changing the way we see and we perceive and we think and we act. So that is the first step, really, to act. Well, the first step is to know, right? To know, to get the knowledge, first of all. Like I say in my book, The New Mother Earth, to know is the first step. To act is the second step. Once we know, we have to do something aligned with what we know. So once we know about true veganic growing, right? And that aligns with anarchism too. It aligns with that, because if we want to be free, growing all of our food, we need to be anarchists. That's what it is. Anarchism is all about freedom. And so we need to get out of the system, act. So we need to make the decisions. Just take the leap. Move to somewhere to the warm tropical areas of the world, growing our own food veganically, specifically trees, native and fruiting trees, right? And thirdly, to share this information, but also to share. It's one thing that I didn't really emphasize too much in the New Mother Earth, which I should have, but that is sharing with people as much as possible, to be of service to people, to be of service to the earth, to be of service to all the free roaming wild animals around us. How can we be of service? Well, sharing whatever we have that's growing, sharing the seeds, sharing the plants, sharing the food, preparing meals for people, showing them how to do what we're doing, showing them why we're doing this kind of thing, sharing the information with people, right? Giving back to the land, putting the compost, putting our human manure and urine, planting the seeds, planting the fruits, maintaining the forests. That is how we do it. If we don't want to be slaves and we want to be free, and we want to grow our food all year round, growing in balconies, people, in cold climates, and having greenhouses heated all year round is not sustainable, people. I bet you cannot do that if you have solar panels. It doesn't work because it's not sustainable. So that is the thing. And people have it wrong when it comes to veganics. So remember this, folks. And next time, I'll see you in the next video. I'm Michael Lanfield from Peaceful Village, Raw Vegan Healing Community, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.